Hello Android developers, my name is Mohsen and I'm back with another episode of Android Developers Interview. Normally these interviews were happening over a Zoom call, but in this case I managed to record it during Droidcon Berlin. As you may already know, the main goal of these interviews is get to familiar with Android community active members and get to know their life and work style and get answers for your challenging questions. I'm sure you will enjoy this talk. Let's watch.
When I was 13, I discovered coding thanks to a book my mom gave me, and I had no idea of anything. But surprisingly, it has lit a flame in me, and something in me was telling me that this will have a big impact on my life. And it really did change my life. However, I took the normal path, studying computer science at a university and fighting through exams about topics you never heard about anymore after completing it. Learning from people who only teach and haven't seen the practical world, that made no sense to me. You spend a whole semester learning something and at the end you feel like you haven't gained anything. It even led to the fact that I stopped enjoying coding. And let's be honest, the industry changes day by day, but universities were just the same as 10 years ago.
Philip, how are you?
Hi, pretty good, how are you?
I didn't expect to see you here, but then I saw on the Twitter that Droidcon said you will be here and I'm super excited seeing you. I'm one of the fans. I follow you on YouTube. I'm super excited to see you here. But okay, how did you end up here? Did you have a tag, I think?
Yeah, I just moved to Berlin a month ago, and I saw Droidcon is in Berlin.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, let's take a look. And then I saw speakers get free entry. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll apply for being a speaker here.
Yeah.
I did. They chose my talk.
Yeah.
Now I'm here.
Cool. What was the talk about?
It was about 5 common traps you can step into when using coroutines.
Yeah, coroutines are a bit tricky.
Yeah, very tricky. Like,
Yeah.
on the surface they are super simple, but the deeper you dive into them, the more complex they are.
Cool. I'd like to know how you prepare yourself for such a talk, because I know developers are a bit struggling, you know. They usually like to not to show up or to not to speak out. So how do you do this?
So I actually already have a video about what I spoke about today.
Oh, cool.
That was a help. And for my videos I usually just write a script. So basically just in form of bullet points what I want to say. Yeah, pretty much about these videos where I just talk. There are more bullet points. If there's a video where there's a lot of code involved, I usually don't have clear scripts because I just explain what I do. There's always something to say. And for this talk I just went through the video, took the stuff, put it into slides, and then made some notes. But actually I just took a look at the slides, at the code, what I wanted to say, and I just explained what I see. Okay. Do you have the chance to do live coding? Because that's another step. That was actually my first thought. Oh, cool. I actually first wanted to do this, and then I took a look at previous Droidcons, and nobody did this. And I was like, okay, let's better use some slides.
Yeah. But yeah, that's another level, I know.
Yeah.
I also do YouTube and record the stuff, but I really need to know the script. Without the script, I cannot step it.
Yeah, and if you're recording a video, you can always re-record it.
Yeah.
If you mess up, it's not a problem. If you mess up here, then everybody will see it.
Yeah. Cool. So, are you doing YouTube as your main job, or you also?
Yeah, kind of. So I do YouTube and freelancing, but I see YouTube as my main business. So I sell courses. I now want to also help people more individually with getting industry ready. And of course, YouTube also helps to find freelance clients, because somewhere real life experience needs to come from. And that's what I also use my channel for. So I freelance 15-20 hours a week. Cool.
So all in all, Dagger Hilt will help us to easily inject our dependencies. That won't be via constructor injection, at least not what we'll see. We'll use a lot of annotations to define which dependency should go where. And it will help us to just have a central place in our code where we manage our dependencies, where we basically tell Dagger Hilt, hey, this is how you can create an API interface. This is how you can create a room database. And then Dagger Hilt will know how to do that, create that dependency, and allow us to easily inject that wherever we want, like in a view model, for example.
You can easily notice here, there are less women in tech.
Yeah.
Do you think why? Why that's
a good question. I think it comes down to 2 things. I think on the one side, it's just the common saying. It feels like that many think women don't belong to tech, and then women might feel like that's true. I think that's one thing, but I also think that there are just some natural differences when it comes to what each gender likes to do. That's not a general thing. That's just how it's on average, I think.
One interesting question that I always ask all my interviews is that tell me a fun fact about yourself.
I used to play in a circus.
Wow. Cool.
Yes, I did. Actually, back then I was playing way too many video games, and my mom wanted me to do something that's not playing video games. And yeah, right next to where I live, there was a circus, and I was like, okay, I played Diablo, and I liked it, and I thought, okay, Mom, if you want that, I'll go in that circus. So could have also been like playing football or so, but I never liked that. Went into a circus, but also didn't feel like I really want this. Also quickly got out of that, but yeah, it was fun.
Okay, cool. Do you suggest any book to newcomers, to people who want to learn Android?
In terms of general coding, or?
It can be Android related, anything maybe that affected your career.
I would like to recommend books about habits. Like, I usually don't read many tech books myself, because especially as a beginner I did that, and I was often confused because I never knew where to put the code and what it means. A video was always more helpful for me. That's also why I do videos, because you see what the person is doing at which place. But I think what really helps developers are books about personal development, things like habits, how you stay consistent with something, how you code an hour every day, like some strategies to do that, and that you actually build your discipline, because it really comes down to doing it regularly on the long term.
Yeah, that's interesting viewpoint, because I usually at the end of interview I say, okay, if this guy doesn't know something, he will learn, but if he cannot behave,
exactly,
I cannot teach him how to behave.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's the cool thing. Okay, after a hard day, how do you reduce pressure? Do you play video game, as you said, or?
I go to the gym.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Cool. That's also a good habit.
Yes.
Okay, cool. What was your first serious Android app that you published on Play Store, maybe?
It was an app I built in school. It was called Infinity Runner.
Okay.
It's still in Google Play.
Okay.
I made it in Unity. That's a game where you basically you have a stickman and you need to jump to randomly generated platforms and have a high score. It was actually funny because my whole school played it, and always when there was a break, we battled against each other who got the highest score.
Do you also code for other platforms, backend, iOS?
I do know something about backend, but I'm not really good at it. I know enough to build some simple backends for my apps, but other than that, I only do native Android.
In general, about Android development, what aspects of our job you like more? Why you decide to become an Android developer?
On one hand, Kotlin. I love Kotlin. On the other hand, because I like that you code something that you always have in your pocket, and there's just so much more you can do on a phone than you can do on a desktop. In a desktop program, because you have things like GPS, you have sensors, you have a camera. You don't always have that on desktops.
Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome?
Yes, every day.
Okay.
I think it's totally normal that we compare us to others. I think it just comes down to how we compare us.
Yeah.
Do we think, oh, that person is so much better than I am, I'm such a mess? Or do we think, okay, that person is so much better, how can I get to their level? What do I need to do? And just being inspired. I think there are just two different ways how you can compare yourself.
Yeah, totally true. What do you think about the future of Flutter? Do you think it will survive this wild KMM solution which is coming up, or you see a totally different solution?
I'm not very much into Flutter, but I think it's, at least from the cross-platform solution, it's the most popular one. So I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon.
Okay.
KMM is of course a thing. I want to also take a closer look at that. I tried it and it was a pain to work with, but they, someone said they actually improved. You can actually now compile your apps. And I want to try that again, because if that's a thing, that would be my preferred cross-platform solution.
Yeah. Correct. In general, don't you miss Java? Have you coded in Java?
No. I don't.
Nothing.
I used to use Java. Also, when I started Android, I used Java. But if you know the Java you actually have to use in Android, and you know Kotlin, then that's a no-brainer.
Makes sense. Can you tell me an open source library that you cannot live without? Just one.
Open source.
Yeah. Okay, retrofit.
Is that
Timber?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Retrofit.
Retrofit.
I always use it.
Yeah. What do you think about this Jetpack Compose feature from Google? This year, it's the trend in.
Yes.
In
like, if we take a look at all other common UI-based frameworks, also at web, if we have like React, if we have Angular, if you take a look at iOS, it's all the same way of building UI.
Yeah.
And now we also have that for native Android, which is great. It's not perfect yet because it's still so new. People need to adapt, and it's still also totally fine to use XML. But I see the trend clearly going towards Compose. That's also what Google says, and since they are developing it, you will know that they will push more towards it. They will provide more features for Compose and less for XML.
Yeah, cool. I don't want to take your time more.
All good.
So how can people get in touch with you and where they can find you?
If you like YouTube videos, then my YouTube name is just like Philipp Lackner. And on Instagram, if you want to know more about like my life, the life of an Android developer, then it's _ Philipp Lackner _. And on Twitter, I am PL Coding.
Cool.
For some quick tips.
Cool. Thanks for accepting my invitation.
All good.
It was a nice
Thanks.
time.
Yeah, it was nice.